The stage is set for this third season of Saturday Night Racing League. Live here tonight from the Lone Star State, Texas Motor Speedway, where we're going to take our final 12, re-rack their points, and put them all on the line for a championship. Live here tonight on V-Speed, it's the Saturday Night Racing League Challenger Series. I'm here tonight with Jeff Wright and your host, Bradley Cooper. Jeff, I told you I'm feeling a little under the weather, so I'm glad that you're here because we got a lot to talk about, and I don't know if I have the voice to do it.
Well, I'm glad to be here with you, Bradley Cooper, and I have to say it, happy birthday yesterday, Mr. Cooper. We appreciate everything you've done here for Saturday Night Racing League and everything at V-Speed, and it's a pleasure to work with you here. But yeah, we got our point standings up here on screen, and you said it, we're going into the playoffs tonight. It all starts right here at Texas Motor Speedway. Philip Brewer, the regular season champion, getting those 10 bonus points plus those 5 bonus points for all those wins. He's certainly in a good spot here as we get set for race number 1.
Yeah, you can see the lead and the bonus points that are tacked on to these drivers. It makes such a difference with this chase format to get victories, but it's not a win and you're in. We had Michael Muncy, who got a victory this season, actually missed that number there. But Michael Muncy, 16th in points, just missed there on that cutoff mark. And a few drivers that had success throughout the season, maybe a race didn't go their way, a time or two, DNF, that's all it takes. And when you get down to the lockstep here, it's the top 12. That's where it's going to be, all the way down to Judson Curtis, minus 25 points out. So that kind of evened things out as well. And maybe these drivers were, a couple 100 points out back in 12th, 13th place. Now they're in a closer realm, and with 6 races here, it's going to be a little bit tighter in the points for these next 2 weeks.
Yeah, and it's like a new season, like you said. I mean, this is a points reset. This is the closest a lot of these drivers have been to the points leader in Philip Brewer all season long. So you got to start off tonight with a really good race to keep yourself in contention. 5 races, it's not that long of a chase. So every race really matters.
And we'll take a look at Texas Motor Speedway. Opened back August 3rd, 1996, and it was notorious for having one of the hardest concrete barriers that any racetrack had had. Since then, adding the safer barrier makes it a little bit more driver resilient. But you go back to, this is one of those tracks that kind of models Charlotte and Atlanta, but it still has its own characteristics. Turns 1 and 2, a little less banking. They've changed the configuration. It's a long sweeping flatter corner, and you have to kind of use the exit of turn 2 to set up turn 3 to complete passes.
Yeah, it's a unique racetrack. And you mentioned, the rescan or the reconfiguration. This track has changed a lot. And when it first got released, it wasn't all that fun. The drivers didn't really like it, but this track has aged a little bit over the years. And now I think it puts on a little bit better racing than it initially did. And it's hot and slick out there today. So these drivers are going to have their hands full.
100 laps here tonight. Pit road speed limit 45 miles per hour. We'll have 4 tire sets available. This racetrack can chew up tires, especially if you take the entry and exit of turns 1 and 2 the wrong way. 2 green-white checkered attempts, 80% fuel on the iRacing fixed setup. But now it's time to get down trackside. Get the grid up on your screen. Starting on the pole here tonight with a 30.262. It's going to be Noah Mahalski. Moved his way up to 3rd in the points. What a rough season it's been. It's time to turn it around from the pole. Andrew Telmanoff going to start to his outside in the number 3. Run number 2 belongs to Chuck Sweeting. Your points leader coming into tonight is Philip Brewer in the 44. He'll start in 4th. Then we go back to 5th spot with Judson Curtis. Justin Ritchie going to start in 6th. Hunter Sr., Jordan Trask. A lot of chase drivers here with the blue banners. Going to start in 8th position. Then you have Zane Farrell going to start in 9th. And rounding out the top 10, it's Rob Ham in the 18th.
Starting in 11th tonight, it's that number 7 of Jared Skinner, still looking for his first win of his SNR Challenger Series career. To his outside, it's Mark Cofield in the number 98. Brandon Wallace won a race earlier this season. He rolls off 13th. Alongside him, it's John Sanu in the 86. Caleb Weekly just got himself into the chase. I believe he was the very last guy to get in, so he is excited to be here, and he rolls off 15th. Craig Martin had his SNR Challenger Series debut last week and posted a podium finish. Looking to back that up tonight, Ben Laughter will roll off 17th, Matt Shanoski in 18th, Tab Dabney in that number 9. He's going to roll off 19th tonight. And Bryce Shoemaker, the new paint scheme there, looks pretty good. He rolls off 20th.
21st spot going to Tim Shanoski. Broderick Baklavic will start in 22nd. 23rd with Keith Shoemaker. Benjamin Richards in 24th. Then you go back to 25th and 26th position with Austin Belkey, Chris Rude in the number 32. Well, we'll get to our picks in just a minute here, Jeff. The lights are out on the pace car. I have a feeling we're about to go chase racing.
Yeah, I'm excited to be here. This is a very important race. This is where the championship quest begins. Chase 1 right here at Texas Motor Speedway.
Live for 100 laps. Season 3, the chase has begun. No Mahalski on the inside. Green flag is out at Texas. And I think the 3-car might get a black flag here.
Yeah, it's going to be hard to say. Yeah, he got a good jump, but it's almost like the leader maybe spun the tires a little bit here. So we'll have to see what race control does and how they kind of judge that. But so far, here comes a move from our points leader, Philip Brewer, looking to the inside there of the 3 of Andrew Telganoff as they get ready to exit turn 4. No Mahalski going to lead the way here.
Oh, big wreck in the back of the field, and Craig Martin totaled after his podium finish, destroyed in turn 4.
Yeah,
Parts
that's
flying
tough.
everywhere.
Yeah, we were just talking about his first race with us here in the SNR Challenger Series last week. A podium finish at Bristol, gets tangled up here in the early goings at Texas Motor Speedway. John Sanu heavily damaged. Looks like Bryce Shoemaker's in it.
And I think this starts here with the 86. It comes down on the 13, who had the nose in there. The 07. I believe that was Baklavic, just nowhere to go, picking up the pieces. That's his, I think it's John Sanu's hood that was bouncing around the racetrack.
Yeah, we'll get a really good look at it here as we ride on board. And yeah, just nowhere to go. That all happens right in front of you and then all washes straight up the racetrack. Going to be a very short night for a lot of these drivers, as you see a couple guys already towing. People are going to have to park it in the pit stalls and more than likely going to be done for the night. So a couple of chase drivers involved in that too. So that is certainly not good for their starts here in a very short 5-race chase span. But Noah Mahalski is going to be leading the way. You mentioned that restart. We talked about the 03 and the 3 both starting there on the front row. And it looked like the 3 maybe got a black flag. I don't know if that's still currently being posted. I don't know if you were actually able to see that or not, Mr. Cooper. But if he is, in fact, still under penalty, he's going to have to serve this under green, probably, this very coming up restart.
Yeah, based off what I got on my timing screen right now, the 3 does not have a penalty, but that doesn't mean he didn't get it and it was cleared. He might still have to serve that penalty. A lot of times race control, especially in this circumstance, could give him the opportunity to get down pit road, but still race control going to keep an eye on the 3-car if he does need to serve a penalty, and will reissue it if necessary. Race control, Chad Klinger up there all season long in the admin booth. He's had his work cut out for him at some of these tracks, but I mean, the Challenger Series, the competitiveness, we know that we kind of talk about how this is a feeder series, but the competition in here is fierce, and everybody is tight on rating and driving talent. I think that's part of the reason why Chad's been so busy, is because every one of these drivers stays right on top of each other all race long.
Yeah, it's a tight competitive series. There's no doubt about that. Obviously, Philip Brewer has kind of separated himself in the last few weeks. Being able to go off and get 5 wins in the regular season, that's no easy task. And he's certainly being rewarded for that, by winning the regular season, netting himself those 10 bonus points, and then bonus points for every single win that he had. So 3 per win, that's 15 bonus points there. So he starts with 25 bonus points ahead of most of these guys. And, with the field sizes that we've been having, that's almost a full on, race worth of points. And I think we talked to him a little bit last week, and, in the back of his mind was Talladega. That's the race you got to get through. Unfortunately for a lot of the guys tonight, this was the race that took him out. But you always go to a Talladega and expect chaos. And he's probably hoping that he can make that buffer a little bit bigger tonight so that when we do get to Talladega, he's not so stressed in a tough position.
Gonna double him back up here on lap number 4. Gonna go back green on lap 5. Pace car out of the way. Let's try this again, Jeff. While we have him under pace laps, who's your pick?
Yeah, I think it's tough to fade Philip Brewer just because he's been so good. Noah Michalski just a season or two ago was really dominant at this racetrack. It was the old surface of Texas Motor Speedway, but still Texas. I'm going to go on a limb tonight and choose somebody else tonight. We're looking at him right now. That number 3 car, Andrew Telganoff. Very good at these types of racetracks. Very good at taking care of his stuff. Expect him to be very good on the long run. Give me the 3 of Andrew Telganoff. He gets his first SNR Challenger Series win tonight.
All over the back bumper of your leader coming through the quad. He'll peek to the inside. 3 car going to look for the lead. Can't get it there. He'll look to the outside now. 44 of Brewer will dive to the bottom in turn 1. Up the racetrack a little bit. But look at that move from the 3 of Telganoff. Your pick, working it 3 wide down the backstretch.
Yeah, what a move there by Telganoff. I think he's going to clear on both. He will. Going to be a bit up the racetrack here, see if he can bring it back down. He'll clear them both. Andrew Telganoff to the race lead here at Texas Motor Speedway. And now you got to play a little defense here. Try to give the guys behind you the dirty air and run just hard enough to where they can't pressure you from behind. And, this isn't a spot. We've seen Andrew Telganoff leading these types of races in the SNR Challenger Series because he hasn't been here a lot. But I have a feeling putting this 3 in clean air is going to be dangerous for this field the rest of the night.
Watching there with the 55 of Justin Ritchie trying to complete the pass on the 7 of Jared Skinner. He'll do that out of turn 3 into 4. Put the 55 down 2 spots, but working his way back to where he started this race. Rob Hamp up 4 positions to 6th. He had a lot of success last week at Bristol.
Yeah, he certainly did. A 2nd place finish there for Rob Hamp. And the last time we were at Bristol before that, he also got 2nd. So we talk about Rob Hamp and short tracks. They just kind of go hand in hand. He seems to be really confident there, and he always tends to run really there. You can go back even a little bit further yet, Bradley, to North Wilkesboro, and he had a great race there as well. Looking to back that up tonight here at Texas Motor Speedway, a bigger racetrack in 1.5 miles. And I know that he'd like to continue to keep that, string of good runs going. And looks like so far he's got some good speed tonight.
Not a lot happening on this racetrack right now. Close battles nose to tail, but it's difficult to get the momentum. We were talking about that in the pre-race. Coming out of turn 2, kind of sets up that turn 3. Telganoff showed us the example of that, but it's a little bit different than what I'm used to. Usually you want to be on the bottom of the racetrack at 3 and 4, or you're not going to complete the pass. He did it from the outside. So that rescan, it's kind of throwing me off.
Yeah, that was a really good move as we watched that live. And then they went 3 wide down the back straightaway, actually, too. But I think that's just Andrew knowing and understanding how valuable the clean air is, especially at a racetrack like Texas, where the line is pretty sensitive. It doesn't move off the bottom a ton. And for it to move off the bottom, you really got to get laps under your tires. And once the tires start to wear here, the track can spread out a little bit. But I like the move. I like the move to push the car, go get the lead early, and I think you're going to set yourself up for a pretty solid run. Noah Michalski is good at Texas, but now that he's in the dirty air running 2nd, it's going to be tough to be able to complete that pass back.
Different ball game here on lap 11. And with 80% fuel, Jeff, I don't know what you got on the fuel numbers, but I'm going to say this is going to be a 2-stop race.
Yeah, I think so as well. I think we're probably going to see most of these guys pit, sometime after lap 33. Probably 35, I think, would be a sweet spot. Maybe pit 35, 70 to the end would probably be a pretty good strategy. And that's where races are won, right? Obviously, you want to get out to the front. You want to lead laps. You want to get the clean air. But you're not going to win the SNR Challenger Series by making a mistake on pit lane. These guys got to be near perfect. We've seen so many races decided by pit lane. And something tells me it's going to be very important again tonight. I don't think that's going to be anything different.
Riding on board with Hunter Sr., this cluster of cars from 7th back to 10th. As you see a little side-by-side from Jared Skinner for a moment there. Two of the Juicy Spider cars riding nose to tail, 9th and 10th.
Yeah, and I expect Hunter Sr. to be pretty good here tonight. He's been good on these 1.5 mile ovals, and I think a track that's, not exactly similar, but, Kansas Motor Speedway also being a 1.5 mile, that's been a really good track for him. And so I think you can kind of take away the, a little bit of things from, racing at other 1.5 mile tracks and apply them here, even though this is such a line sensitive racetrack. But yeah, I expect the Juicy Spider guys to be good, as they always are every single week. It's just a matter of working your way through the field and then trying not to do it too quickly so that you burn off those tires, because you got to have a good long car run tonight. I can't stress that enough. And it's partially why I went with that pick of Andrew Telgenhoff. He tends to run really good on the long run.
Moving to the inside again here for the 8th position. Can't quite get it done. And this is kind of a new name to me, Zane Farrell. And the 14 running in 7th, just behind Rob Hamp. 14 car showing some promise in the all-white Ford Mustang.
Yeah, fairly new to the series here, so good to see Zane out here, and so far doing a pretty good job as he works over Rob Hamp here inside the top 10. This is the battle for 6. Rob Hamp going to try to battle back on the outside. That is tough to do as well, although we did see Andrew Telgenhoff do it, and Rob Hamp will clear him, so good power move there by Rob Hamp. Here comes Justin Ritchie in the 55. He tends to run really good at these 1.5 mile racetracks. I expect him to be on the move early on here at Texas Motor Speedway, and probably a guy we will be talking with, or talking about probably towards the end of this race as a potential winner.
55 making contact. He just touched the 14 to the quad oval. Now he gets into the back of him in 1 and 2. It's 2 times now at the 55, and now he's trying to clear on the 7. He's just trying to bully his way around here to complete a pass, and now he's going to end up losing a couple spots.
Yeah, something must have happened between those two that Justin's not too happy with. So, yeah, trying to make his way forward. Maybe he feels like he got cut off. But something tells me this battle between the two, it might not be over. We might want to keep the camera right here. I don't know what's going to happen.
The 7th through 10th has been pretty tight for about 10 laps now. We went back green. And I think it's right now just pre-race and pre-chase. You're doing an early thing here with the points, and when you reset everybody, you kind of give them that new hope, that new kind of thing to stand on, that new podium. And sometimes guys abuse that mentality. You got to dial it back a little bit. In order to win a championship, you got to finish all 5 of these races.
Yeah, you got to finish them for starters, but you also got to be very consistent. So these guys have to keep that in mind, and that's minimizing your mistakes on the track, but also on pit lane. I mean, you could run great all 5 of these chase races, and if you have one bad pit sequence where you go a lap down, have a terrible finish, that could be your hopes for the championship over. So you really got to focus on the fact that all these races are super important, and you really got to be on your A game for the entirety. And this 55 looks like he's still making contact with a lot of these cars out here, so I'm not sure what's going on, but makes you wonder if we're going to see some sort of incident here in the coming laps.
The battle for the lead is starting to heat up a little bit. Telgenhoff has lost a couple tenths. It was nearing half a second, but now Noah Michalski has chased down the 3. 0-3. Down the backstretch within a 10th.
Yeah, these two have kind of separated themselves from the rest of the field. Andrew was that driver that wanted to, go out there and claim the lead early and kind of push his car for it. You have to wonder, is that starting to bite him a little bit now, or is Noah Michalski just that good to where he's able to close up to the back bumper of Andrew Telgenhoff here and maybe grab it back? We're just took lap 22 here, so we're getting into a fairly good run. But I'll tell you one thing, Andrew Telgenhoff is very good at managing the gap here. So I wouldn't say Andrew's running all out. I think he has a very good understanding of racing and race dynamics, and that he doesn't need to run away with it, right? He could just stay, in front of the 03, and he's going to make it really hard on Noah to be able to do anything, because that dirty air is just about as bad. I think it's the worst at Texas out of all the tracks we go to, because the speeds are high, the line is very sensitive, and so that's just a combination for a really tough racetrack to make passes at.
Jeff, it's a little late for me to make my pick, but I guess I'll just go and play devil's advocate. I'll pick the opposite of who's running in this top 3, and I'll go with the 03. I think Noah Michalski can get it done. So you pick the 3, I'll pick the 03.
Hey, that is a good pick. I mean, we talked about Noah and how dominant he was here the last time we were at Texas Motor Speedway. I feel like he led all but, 15, 20 laps of that thing. He was in the lead all race long. Ended up having an incident with some lap traffic that ultimately took him out of contention for the win. I believe Richard Holland went on to win that race, who was also running a very good race himself, but pretty much was second the entire night until Noah had that issue, and then lost the race. So I think Noah has a little bit of a fire lit underneath him tonight. He kind of sees this as an opportunity for some redemption. He feels like he should have won here last time we were here. And it's right there in front of him right now. But I'm going to tell you what, Andrew Toganoff is one tough pass to make. So if he can do it, I'm going to assume Noah Michalski is going to run away. But as long as Andrew can work the air, work the lanes, I think that Andrew Toganoff is going to be very tough to beat tonight.
We've been watching a battle here for the 3rd position with Judson Curtis. And that's Philip Brewer in the 3rd spot, your points leader coming into tonight. Now, with Philip Brewer's case, he doesn't need to push the car too much. Podium finish, plenty good enough. You want to go to Talladega, you want to do your best, you just want to survive.
Yeah,
he's
pretty
got
much.
enough cushion here.
Absolutely, and a top 3 run would be a win for him, because like you said, the goal is to get through Talladega and then worry about the rest from there on. So if you get yourself top 3s week in, week out, with the points lead that you already got, it's going to be very tough for anybody to take that points lead away from you. But big battle here for the lead. This is the first time we've seen Andrew Toganoff challenged. Now on the outside, this 03 of Michalski wants that lead back.
The dive to the inside in 3 and 4 almost touches the apron there. They're going to be drag racing off of turn 4. Couple thousandths of a second. Across the line, Michalski's going to lead the lap.
Yeah, just barely, and it looks like he is going to go ahead and get the spot. Andrew Toganoff going to fall back in line here for the time being, and that little bit of battling did bring Philip Brewer and Judson Curtis just a little bit closer into the picture. It wasn't a lot, but it was probably 2 to 3 tenths, I would say. But now I'm curious, can Andrew Toganoff get back around him here? Or is now that Noah Michalski has the clean air, is this going to spell trouble for the rest of the field? Is he going to absolutely check out like he did a season or 2 ago? I think it's very possible.
Clean air already up to just shy of 0.3 of a second coming off of turn 2. Didn't get a great exit. Toganoff's going to drive back to him.
Yeah, he's not going to give up, that's for sure. At the same time, though, we are approaching pit stops here for the first time tonight under the green flag conditions, and I would expect those to probably start happening here within the next 5 laps. We'll probably have some drivers elect to go long in the run and then, try to get the advantage on the long run for the following run. But I'm going to guess majority of the field probably going to be on pit lane in and around lap 35.
So we confirmed it a while ago, but I'll reestablish that there was no black flag there on the outside for Toganoff. It was really close, Jeff, and I don't know if there was wheel spin on that initial start, what exactly happened. But the 03 just didn't get it going on the inside line. We got some tire smoke on the inside of the quad oval, and I'm not sure what that was for. We got a car way behind this field, and it's Keith Shoemaker. I'm going to try to go back and find, I think it was Tad Dabney maybe, that had the issue. We'll go back and look. Coming down the backstretch and off racetrack. touch with the wall, into the grass. I don't quite think that was the reason for that smoke on the front stretch. So just trying to find things. Off's lost a ton of ground. Philip Brewer now in second place. Gonna battle here.
Yeah, Philip Brewer looks like his car is really starting to come to life. He has cut that gap in half now to the race leader, and now working on the inside here of Andrew Telganoff. Probably going to get this position fairly easily. It looks like Telganoff maybe ran off his stuff as he pushed early to get the lead, and he's starting to pay for it now. But got pit stops coming up here, so this is actually not a terrible time for Telganoff to start falling off if he's going to do so. I think he should probably get to pit lane before anybody else here, though, to try and reclaim that track position, because that clean air is so valuable. But yeah, just pushed his stuff just a little bit too much, and it is now starting to backfire. Jensen Curtis is starting to reel him in as well there in the 4th spot, and then 5th goes Chuck Sweeting. One of our chase drivers, I'm surprised to be running so deep in the field right now, is actually Jordan Trask. He ran really well at Texas here a season or two ago, and finds himself outside the top 10. I don't know if he got part of that first, wreck incident and got some damage, but certainly not the night that he's wanting to have out of the gate here, as we are in our first race of the chase here in the SNR Challenger Series.
So I wanted to make sure that my trading paints was actually working. It is. I actually got a message there, Jeff, that there on Thursday things weren't working correctly, but whatever it was, I don't know. I mean, Trading Paints likes to break every other week. You can see we've got drivers with blue spoilers, and then sometimes we don't. Chuck Sweeting doesn't have a blue spoiler. He should. I think it's just a matter of getting these paints updated for the drivers personally.
And pit stops are underway. A race later, Noah Mahalski has brought it down pit lane and going to be the first of the leaders to do so here. Looking for a good, clean pit stop here to try and keep that race lead. I'm going to guess all the guys behind him probably going to be on pit lane here very, very soon, maybe the next lap or two.
Austin Belkey finishes his service. He's coming back out on the racetrack. You have Matt Shanoski, the 31. You have the other Shanoski with Tim in 17th. Chris Rude. He's Shoemaker. Covering 3 seasons, 5 seasons total for SNR. And then you add on these other 3 here for the Challenger Series. I like that I have the ability to just read the last name and know the first name. Not very many leagues can I do that.
Yeah, I guess that means we've been established. We've been around a while, I would say, huh,
Yeah,
Bradley Cooper? It's been great to have that partnership, too, with V-Speed over the seasons. And I don't think we'd want any other broadcast team as our premier broadcasting partner for both our SNR Challenger Series and our SNR Cup Series. You guys really do a phenomenal job. And, yeah, it's been fun all season long through the regular season to work with you here, Bradley. And now we're right here in the postseason. With only 5 races left in the season, we'll go on a bit of a break. So it's been a fun season for sure. And now we get through these 5 chase races before we crown our champion here in the SNR Challenger Series.
Andrew Telganoff getting service as well. There's 29 of Curtis down and away, so Telganoff is going to end up losing a spot on pit road. 29 got by. See Blend in the chat. Good to see you in there, and always with the compliments. It's been an honor for you as well. A lot of people here in the chat that have been regulars as well. A lot of racing. I'd like to know the mileage that we've covered here for these seasons. Let's say it's somewhere in the 2,000 to 3,000 range.
Oh, it's been a lot, and probably more so than that. And Sim Racer Hub, actually, Bradley Cooper, we could probably pull it up and tell you exactly, as all of our results and standings and any stat you could even think of is all stored there in Sim Racer Hub, which is such an awesome tool. We like to be able to go back and look at all the stats, the standings, and everything from past seasons as well. So I'm sure that information's there. We just got to dig for it.
Philip Brewer down pit road. He led a lap. Now going to come in for service. 44 car was within a half a second roughly with the 3 of Mahalski. the 03. After this all cycles through, I gotta wonder, Philip Brewer was very fast on that long run. Can he catch up to these leaders, though? Chuck Sweeting's gonna stay out another lap.
Yeah, I think he can. I mean, you're right. He did show a ton of speed there towards the end. And I think part of that was, Mahalski and Telganov battled each other pretty hard there for the race lead. I think that brought him kind of back into the picture. But, after the first run is complete, you kind of know, if you need to adjust your driving style at all. It's the first opportunity you get to, take a look at the tire wear, and you can kind of change the driving depending on if you wore the right front out more or the right rear. And so I think Philip's going to use that information now, and he'll probably have a better run even yet. It's just a matter, did he go too long to where it's just going to be too much of a gap to make up? Or, we'll have to wait and see. It's 40 laps on a set of tires. It's a long time.
So these drivers approaching that halfway mark. And if we go another 7 laps here, Jeff, with Chuck Sweeting or Hunter Sr., Jared Skinner, it'll make me wonder if these guys can make it in one. That could change everything as well.
Yeah. If you can make it on one stop, I'm going to guess you're going to have been saving fuel from the get-go of the run, which, these guys might have been. If you're a little bit further down in the pack or feel like you don't have the race pace or the race-winning speed, why not try something different? Or if they know they can't get to lap 50, you could still run the tank dry, and you don't know. You could catch a caution at any given point in this race. And, guys like Chuck Sweeting, Hunter Sr., Jared Skinner, they'd all cycle to the front of the pack. And then it's a brand new race. They have clean air. All those dominant cars are going to be, either trapped a lap down, have to take the wave. The advantage could switch. And so I understand why these guys take that risk. I think it's a good risk reward.
That race lead would go to the 03 after we cycle these green flag pit stops, and a pass for position with Andrew Telganov getting to the inside of Justin Ritchie. 3 car into 3.
Yeah, and you can see that he's reeled in Noah Mahalski quite a bit here through this run. So a good pit cycle and a good pit exchange there for the 3 of Andrew Telganov. Noah Mahalski was one of those drivers that pit earliest. And I believe Telganov went another lap or 2. I don't know if you have that data in front of you or not, Mr. Bradley Cooper. But this 3 car is starting to charge back towards the front. And you talk about all the great fans of V-Speed and people in the chat. Well, Blend in the chat there, he is pretty apparent. He is rooting for that number 3 Intimidator of Andrew Telganov. And it looks like this driver is certainly in a good spot and having a pretty good run so far. It's going to be one thing to catch Mahalski and try to pass him again, but he's done it once already tonight. See if he can do it again.
This time, though, it's 7/10, and that was about where it fell off when we started green flag pit stops. So the 03 is in a good situation with clean air. He's not going to have to contend, and that might be where the tires got used up for the 03 the last time. He got trapped behind the 3 car for a few laps. Then he had to pass him. Now he's out in that clean air, running his laps, running his own line, 47 laps into the stint. Chuck Sweeting, though, has impressed me. They just unlapped themselves from the 75. But Sweeting continuing to stay out on this racetrack. There goes the 44, Philip Brewer. Brewer stayed out another 3 or 4 laps from the stint here of Mahalski and Telganov. So not only did the 44 have long run speed, but now he's going to have a little tire advantage for the end of this.
Yeah, he certainly is, and I'm definitely surprised as well about the whole Chuck Sweeting situation with him being able to go this far. So it looks as if, it's possible that you could stretch it and make it a one-stopper. The question is he going to be able to have enough pace on the second run if he's having to save enough fuel, to where these guys that are on the 2-stop strategy, Mahalski, Andrew Telganov, would those guys just pass him outright anyway before the end of the race? But this is right on the number for Chuck Sweeting. So interesting, differing strategies here at Texas Motor Speedway. We're going to see which one is the right call.
Hunter Sr. going to get an additional lap. There's a lap led for the number 1 car. If they can make this 50 laps, that will be a different strategy entirely. I know we lengthened this race out a little bit on that fuel call. Chuck Sweeting got a pit road penalty. 75's getting a hold.
Man, that's tough for Chuck, especially being, one of those drivers that we mentioned to be a threat for the championship. If he doesn't catch a caution of some sort. Yeah, if they don't catch cautions now, some sort of be able to reset, this race is really going to hurt their hopes.
Leading penalties for the 7, the 98, the 75. Senior staying out another lap. Let's see if he brings it down this time by. He will not. He'll stay out another one.
And Senior might be one of those drivers that topped off on fuel under that very first caution. I'm not entirely sure about that, but just with him being able to go this much further, I'd assume that he topped off on fuel because
I don't have the number on that. Yeah, it's 49 laps in the stint, 4.4, so he did hit the box. He did top off.
Yeah, I'm guessing he did so, and that could be, a big-time strategy move, too, and he could be looking back after all of this and being very glad that he did. We'll have to wait and see how this thing shakes out, but right now, Hunter Sr., Jordan Trask, another guy that's on that same strategy, Brandon Wallace, Caleb Weekly, those are the last 4 guys yet to pit. So once this all cycles through, the battle for the race lead will become Noah Michalski versus Andrew Toganoff again. Philip Brewer's not that far behind, though, and he went, 5-6 laps longer. So this 44 is moving right now, and I think he's probably going to be the guy we're going to have to watch out for. He's been so dominant all season long, and he may have just pulled the best strategy here to potentially win the race.
He's got the speed here. Compared to Michalski, he's got 5-lap fresher tires. Better situation here for the 44 car as we'll come through for lap 55. Jordan Trask still out on the racetrack. He's also in a great scenario. One stop to the end. Race stays green. He could be one of those drivers to win this race. He's on the clutch pedal. Oh, he's losing it. That was loose. Close call there for the 79, but he gets it woed up. Brandon Wallace also with a pit road hold penalty.
Man, we've had a lot of those tonight, which is kind of surprises me. I know this is a tough pit lane to get on and off of, but I feel like the guys that would have went long would have been extra conservative on their pit stall entries just because of the fuel situation, wanting to save enough fuel and then not wanting to risk it. But we have a battle for the lead on our hands. It's between these top 3 drivers, Michalski, Telganoff, and Brewer. All of these guys trying to figure out how to get back to the race lead. You have Skinner there who's going to get into the 3 a little bit. He's on fresh tires. He's trying to unlap himself, and he should be able to do so. He should be able to get on to the inside here of Michalski and get on through, but he's not going to let him. Contact's made.
Really close call there for the 03 Michalski, and I don't know that he knew the 7 was there. We knew it. And that flips the lead to Philip Brewer.
Yeah, that spells trouble for the rest of the field. I know Telganoff was going to try to get around Michalski first and then maybe feel like he had something to fend off Philip Brewer. But, man, now Philip Brewer to the race lead with the freshest tires on this strategy right now. That is big-time trouble for the rest of the field. I expect this 44 probably just to start checking out and driving away.
The 18 of Rob Hamp trying to unlap himself. They get the run on the outside of Toganoff. There's the 13 of Caleb Weekly. The first car a lap down here. If he can get around the 18 car. Rob Hamp actually 2 laps down. Caleb Weekly on the bottom. Stayed out a little bit longer. Came in about 4 laps ago on fuel. Right on board here. Get a look at the number 13. Jeff, we talked about the points there in the start of the pre-race. This driver was tied for that cutoff mark.
Yeah, he was a driver that just kind of snuck his way in, or he was close to the cut line, but then got to advance to the chase. And yeah, it's tied with a lot of the drivers for what I believe is 6th place overall. 6 drivers, I think, are all tied at 2,000 points apiece. So he's here in the chase. Now he's just trying to make the most of it. Unlaps himself from the race leader there, Philip Brewer, and he's one of the few drivers that are on this long strategy. These guys are done pitting for the rest of the race. He is good to go to the end. It's just going to have to wait and see how this shakes out with the 2-stop drivers like Brewer, Telegraph, Mahalski. Those were the best cars on their strategy. We'll see how it all plays out. No, Mahalski lost the lead out of this whole exchange. He led coming up to that very first pit stop. It looks like the longer stint started to pay off. I think he maybe pit a little bit too quick compared to everybody else, and it's starting to bite him. And then had that instant, that big slide.
Lap traffic again.
The lap traffic, yeah. So that could ultimately be a factor here. So I know Mahalski might not have a chance to go win at Texas again, which I know that one's going to sting for him. But so far, Philip Brewer, Andrew Telganoff are the 2 highest running cars on the 2-stop strategy, and they didn't have a big tire slide. I expect Mahalski probably to start falling more here throughout this run, because you just don't get a big slide like that and your car is going to handle just fine. It's probably going to be a handful the rest of this race.
We still have to establish there's a couple drivers with Jordan Trass and Jared Skinner getting the black flag there, but Jordan Trass is in a great scenario in 11th position right now. He could run this race out to the very end. He's only 6 laps on the stint, and yeah, he's a little bit behind in 11th right now. But he has one less pit stop. It works out perfectly for him.
Yeah, it'll all depend on how good of a pit stop Telganoff, Brewer, Mahalski all have. I still think the 2-stop strategy is going to be the winning strategy, but we'll have to wait and see. It's really hard to say. That's just my gut feeling. I feel like the tire fall off was pretty significant, that the guys that are going to be pitting here, within the next 5-10 laps, they're going to get their last set of tires. They're going to be running a lot faster lap times than these guys who, they pretty much got to go 45 to 50 laps on this one set of tires. That's a long time. And those lap times are going to be falling off a cliff here within probably the next 20 or so. Who knows? It could come right down to the wire. But the cool thing is we got different strategies to look out for. We really don't know who could win this race here. Probably we'll have a good idea around lap 90 when these 2 strategies come together. But right now it's really wide open.
Wide open out front as well, with the 44 in clean air starting to pull away. A full second now coming off of turn 4 for Philip Brewer. He has led 13, now 14 laps, coming up on lap 65. 26 laps to go. 36 laps to go. Hey, you know what? I don't have to do math anymore. Once you pass 30, Jeff, you stop counting.
You certainly do. And I don't blame you one bit for that at all. But, Bradley, the V-Speed odds, they had Philip Brewer as the favorite tonight coming in, and probably the biggest favorite of this season. And it didn't maybe start off looking like that, but once the long run kicked in, once the pit sequence kicked in, I think Philip Brewer is showing why he was the favorite. And I got a question for the chat members right now. We're getting to be about, 2/3 of the way through the race here. A lot of different tire strategies going on. You guys go ahead and drop your picks in the chat, because really this race could be won by a lot of different drivers because of so many different strategies at the moment. I'm going to stick with Andrew Telganoff, Bradley, just because I think he maybe has something up his sleeve. But I'm curious to see who does the chat have as their pick to win here at Texas Motor Speedway.
I've never changed my pick, but sometimes both of our picks get the bad luck, the curse of the commentator. That's happened a few times this year. We'll stick with the 03, but he needs to recover from that situation with the 7. And I know that lap traffic can always be a factor, but I think that one in particular is just Mahalski. He's got a lot of cars in his mirror. He's worried more about the position with second place right on his tail, and then probably a little bit of tunnel vision, not aware that the 7 car was on much fresher tires.
Yeah, and that's tough too, because those guys that are a lap down or trying to unlap themselves, they just carry so much more corner speed. So you're probably right. It probably did catch him off guard how much faster that 7 was approaching, trying to shoot to the inside of him. And then, yeah, they just come together, goes for a big slide, loses some track position.
Mahalski down pit road.
Yeah, that's a good call here. He was starting to lose a little bit of time, so might as well go ahead and make your final stop of the day. We'll see how it works out for him. And then we'll keep an eye on Philip Brewer and Andrew Telganoff to see when they elect to make their final pit stop of the race.
Pretty much splitting this race into thirds. As you see Mahalski down the long pit road. Nice execution on pits as well.
Yep, done a good job on that so far. Really, as did Brewer, Telganoff, all these guys, the top 3 runners of this strategy. And then, yeah, we'll have to see about the other guys, the guys that went long, guys like, you know, Jordan Trask, Hunter Sr., those guys. We'll see where they cycle out with all this.
There's Justin Ritchie. 55 car down for his last stop of the day. Tim Shinosky, speeding penalty in the 41. Not where you want it. This is the money stop. It has to be perfect in this race. Trending towards going green. We have 1 caution on lap 2 out of turn 4. Since then, it's been all the way through 8 lead changes. And it's starting to cloud up a little bit here. Partly cloudy. Track pretty much casting on a shadow right now.
Yeah, this is going to pick up the speeds too with the track cooling off like this. So gives these drivers an opportunity to maybe push their cars just a little bit harder, try to get a little bit more time. And especially on the back half of a run like this where Brewer and Telganoff, they're still out here running laps. You might as well be trying to push your car as hard as it possibly can go right now because you're going to be coming to make your last pit stop here anyway. So get all you can get, then get onto pit lane, try to have a really fast, smooth stop, and then see where you shake out by the time this thing is all said and done.
A couple of these other drivers, Hunter Sr., Jordan Trask. This is the weird spot in the strategy where we're talking about. Hunter Sr. leading over top of Jordan Trask, but 8 seconds back from the lead. Realistically, I think the 1 car, if that strategy can work all the way to the end of this race, I think he has the best chance. But we're talking about another 27, 28 laps. That would put his stint at 48. I don't think they have enough to go that far.
Yeah, it's going to be really close, and just interesting to see how this all works out because, you know, I'm sure we could crunch all the numbers and we could probably have a better idea, but right now, Bradley, I'm just strictly a spectator. I'm not really crunching the numbers or anything. I'm just going off gut feeling, and I think it's still a very big possibility that, you know, they could become net positive out of this, maybe win the race. I just think it's going to be tougher to beat those guys that have been so good and so quick on that 2-stop strategy. I think the speed that they're going to have over the course of this next run to the end is going to be enough to where they'll be able to pass them.
That's a champion here at Saturday Night Racing League, giving his input for what he thinks the outcome will be. And I'm kind of on the same page for these last 25 laps. Well, we didn't get him in on the start of the race. We need to take an opportunity here as we'll cycle through pit stops. We're going to take you side by side under green, take a little break and rest our voices as you watch the 44 of Philip Brewer bring it down pit road. Back with more coverage of Saturday Night Racing League and the Challenger Series in just a moment.
JS Racing, we're in the game.
Start your printers.
To keep pace with the ever-changing landscape of marketing and advertising, let Clark Print Shop help you spot the trends and keep you in front of the pack with all your color printing needs. From business cards to invitations, menus to mugs, we can print anything you need on paper or your choice of over 3,000 promotional items. Visit www.clarkprintshop.com to browse our online catalog and place your order today, or call us at 276-889-3426. For a limited time, use the code iRacing for 23% off your first purchase. The staff at Clark Print Shop looks forward to handling all your color printing needs.
Walking and Rolling Costumes started when my son Reese was born with cancer.
So when I was 3 years old, I got my first wheelchair.
And he wanted to be Wall-E for Halloween that year. And so I knew you couldn't buy a costume to go on a wheelchair at that time. So I knew I had to build one.
My dad ended up building a Wall-E costume out of a Dell computer box.
When we were all finished, he loved it. We took pictures of it and shared it on social media. So many people started sharing it that we started getting requests from people we didn't know.
In 2015, we decided to build them for other kids because people were asking, hey, can you build them for my kid?
So we started the nonprofit organization, Walking and Rolling Costumes, and we build costumes for kids all over the nation, free of charge to the families.
JS Racing.
Coming back here live at Texas Chase Race number 1. We're riding around with Ben Lapter in the number 64. He's 7.9 seconds back. But Jeff, while we were taking that little break, we talked about the strategies and what might happen. I think there's a couple drivers here now that are in the front of this field that could find a way to win. I'm liking these numbers. Lapter is on the clutch pedal. I don't think he can stretch this stint. Give me the 79 to Trass on this strategy. I think Hunter Sr. is going to have to bring it down pit road before we get to the end of this thing, unless we get a caution.
Yeah, caution would certainly change everything. And we've seen that happen at the end of these races. You never know when that yellow flag might wave, but as this run has progressed, and it's starting to look like it's, more likely, more possible that this could very well happen. You see, Noah Maholsky was the first of the guys to pit on the two-stop strategy, and he is currently about 17 seconds back. We don't have a ton of time remaining. He is running faster lap times, but is it going to be enough to overcome that gap? I just don't know at this point. I think you're right. I think Trass is in a good spot here. We'll have to wait and see, but I'm starting to believe a little bit more now in this long run strategy, just because that is a lot of time to make up in a very short period of time.
Yeah, we're going to go to 16 laps to go with Jordan Trass out front. And Lapter in third position, Caleb Weekly. Then it's Maholsky in fifth. And if you take away the 3.1 seconds Trass is down, then you go to Maholsky at 16.4. So that's around 13 seconds that Maholsky needs to make up. I don't know that Hunter Sr. can make it to the end. I've been wrong before with 16 to go here. But it's 32.5 or 057 on the lap times. There's the laps on the left-hand side of your screen. You can see Maholsky about half a second faster.
Yeah, half a second faster, but being, that far back, I feel like the math says he's not going to get there. I'm not a math major by any means, Bradley Cooper, but it's starting to look like this very well could be Hunter Sr., Jordan Trass's race to lose at this point. I think you're right. I think we need to be a little bit concerned about Hunter Sr.'s fuel. Trass is obviously, I believe Trass. Which car went longer? I actually think Hunter Sr. went a little longer, didn't he?
Based off my stint here, it looks like Trass has a 2-lap advantage on the one car.
Okay, maybe that was the first run that they flip-flopped, but yeah, so I feel like, yeah, Trask will definitely be good here. Hunter Senior is questionable right now on if he can make it, but 15 seconds back or more for Mahalski, I don't think he's going to get there.
Weird window of opportunity, but these guys seized it, came in and topped off of fuel during that first caution. Stayed out on the racetrack longer than everybody else. Green flag pit stops cycle through. Senior with the lead by about 3.2 seconds. And Laughter, I don't think the 64 is going to make it, and that's a shame. But he's in a situation where he has to clutch way longer than the rest of these guys. He's probably going to be caught by Mahalski in the next lap or two.
Yeah, it certainly looks like it. And you talk about, you know, being the first race of the chase, how important this race is to get off to a good start. Jordan Trask comes into tonight in second place. He had 3 wins in the regular season, so that netted him 9 bonus points, and that still put him 16 points behind Philip Brewer. So he needed to come in tonight and, you know, not only keep Brewer close, but try to gain some points on him if possible. It looks like if this thing runs out where it's at, it's going to finish ahead of him for sure. I think the big question is, though, is the win in the cards here for the 79? Is Hunter Senior going to have enough fuel to make it to the end? Because if Trask gets up there and wins, that's 3 more bonus points he gets for a win, and that gap becomes even closer yet. Mahalski's still faster on the racetrack, but 10 laps to go, 13 seconds or 14 and a half seconds. That math just doesn't add up. So I feel like the race is going to be decided between the 1 of Hunter Senior and the 79 of Jordan Trask if we don't get a caution. That's the big question.
10 laps to go from Texas. The 1 car out front, 2.9 seconds. Hunter Senior committed to this strategy, or maybe praying for a caution. I never want to be praying for a yellow when I have clean air in front of me. I want to know that I have enough fuel. Where Senior has somebody up on the box there from Juicy Spider. I believe Nick Hapiak and a couple of the other guys there, Josh Adams, and everybody at Juicy Spider is watching this right now, hoping that they have enough fuel to the end.
Yeah, he's certainly in good hands too with a good team like that. Probably helping him with the strategy, but also, you know, giving him good information to where, you know, everybody else's strategy was at, also with the lap times, and probably just ensuring him, hey, we can make it to the end here. We're good. We're not going to have any pressure here from the 79 Jordan Trask. Obviously, those 2-stop strategy guys, they're too far back at this point to be a threat. And so I think they're all just holding their breath, hoping for no caution. And Hunter Senior can cruise to a victory here for the first time in the SNR Challenger Series.
In the chat right now, Hapiak dropping a message there. And the gas man has no fingernails left. Well, the gas man can do his best, but it's up to the driver at this point to keep the fuel and the conservation. You can do your best on the strategy call, but if you don't execute as a driver, this strategy does not work. And that's where doing the math and trying to figure this all out, it's a lot easier with somebody up on the box, but it still comes down to you pushing the pedal at the right time.
Yeah, absolutely. And I can tell you from experience, it is so helpful to have knowledgeable people up on the box, you know, spotting, crew chiefing. It makes your job as a driver so much easier because all you got to go out to, you know, is run your race, run your laps, and then, you know, let the other guys help you out with strategy. And it looks like that has certainly been a team effort tonight. Hunter's obviously done a good job driving the car tonight. The strategy worked out, went and topped off on fuel under that first caution. And he's run well at these 1.5 miles. We said that earlier in the show tonight, that these are kind of his bread and butter. And right now he's showing it. Just have to wait and see, does he have enough fuel to get to the very end?
Philip Brewer catching up to Noah Mahalski about 2/10 a lap, and that'll put him at the back porch when we get to the white flag. It's about half a second separating these two cars. This is for a podium.
Yeah, and every point counts out here too. Mahalski he knows that, if this thing stays green, he's not going to win the race, but if he can at least, get a point away from Philip Brewer here, he'll gladly do that. You got to get all the points you can get on the points leader to have a shot at this thing, because this thing's going to get really shaken up after we go to Talladega in 2 weeks. We got Phoenix next week. That will be an interesting race. But like I said, 5 races, not a lot of time to make up points on your competitors. So even just 1 point, you never know. That could be the difference maker.
Thanksgiving coming up.
Yeah, and we will be off for that. So we'll have a nice break here. In both series, SNR Challenge Series and SNR Cup Series will be off. Be nice to get together with the family, Bradley Cooper, and also V-Speed, take a break. You guys been busy for us all, for a very long time. We haven't had a break. I want to go back to maybe September. It's probably the last time we were been off. So you guys have certainly been at it. You guys definitely deserve this Thanksgiving break. It'll be nice to catch our breath.
Re-rack things and try to figure out the strategy. I think that's where a lot of these drivers, the mentality coming into Chase Race 1, who would have thought that that's what the shakeup would be. That caution there on lap 2 changed everything. And Hunter Sr. has 2 laps to go to become a winner in Saturday Night Racing League history. I think I'm biting my fingernails at this point. 2.9 seconds ahead of Jordan Trask, who's probably going to end up with a podium. Philip Brewer got around Noah Mahalski. He'll work his way to 3rd. But here we go. White flag in the air. He has 1.5 miles to put it in victory lane. Hunter Sr. off of turn 4. One more time around for Chase Race 1.
And what a race for Hunter, too. He came into tonight knowing he had the confidence and the ability to run well at these types of racetracks. And tonight, with the help of some strategy up on the box, they made all the right calls, made great pit stops. And I think he's got enough fuel, not only to get to the end, but maybe to do a burnout too here after he's going to win at Texas Motor Speedway. Chase Race 1, SNR Challenger Series.
We knew it was just a matter of time, but Hunter Sr. is victorious. The 1 car. Saturday Night Racing League. He's got it.
And that has to feel so good. Probably a weight off of his chest as well. He's been close. He's ran super good. It just hadn't all come together. But tonight it does at Texas Motor Speedway. And the first win, Bradley, always feels the best, right? I mean, I feel like he knew he had the ability to get the win and believed in himself. But then for it to finally actually happen, no better feeling.
You always remember your first. And here he is coming around for that victory celebration. Congratulations to the 1 team and everybody at Juicy Spider. They got this car to victory lane. Is he trying to find victory lane right now?
I think he's getting set up to do a big-time burnout for all the guys at Juicy Spider, and he's going to burn it down right here on the front straightaway, right across the finish line. Hunter Sr. going to tear it down.
That's all
here
he's
at
got.
Texas. And I think he might be out of fuel. So that was short-lived, but, man, still, what a race. What a well-put-together race by Hunter. All the guys at Juicy Spider. They're a big sponsor of Saturday Night Racing League. We greatly appreciate all of them. And you can't help but feel good for those guys to get another win here in the SNR Challenger Series. And this time, it's Hunter Sr. that does it. His very first career win.
Well, there's a little graphic error for you. Bryce Shoemaker in 23rd, but we're going to take a quick break and round up these top 3 in the final race results. You're watching the Saturday Night Racing League. The Challenger Series, Chase Race 1. Back with more on V-Speed in just a moment.
JS Racing. We're in the game.
Do I take Gentlemen, start your engine!
Drivers, start your printers.
To keep pace with the ever-changing landscape of marketing and advertising, let Clark Print Shop help you spot the trends and keep you in front of the pack with all your color printing needs. From business cards to invitations, menus to mugs, we can print anything you need on paper or your choice of over 3,000 promotional items. Visit www.clarkprintshop.com to browse our online catalog and place your order today, or call us at 276-889-3426. For a limited time, use the code iRacing for 23% off your first purchase. The staff at Clark Print Shop looks forward to handling all your color printing needs.
Walking and Rolling Costumes started when my son Reese was born with cancer.
So when I was 3 years old, I got my first wheelchair.
And he wanted to be Wall-E for Halloween that year. And so I knew you couldn't buy a costume to go on a wheelchair at that time. So I knew I had to build one.
My dad ended up building a Wall-E costume out of a Dell computer box.
When we were all finished, he loved it. We took pictures of it and shared it on social media. So many people started sharing it that we started getting requests from people we didn't know.
In 2015, we decided to build them for other kids because people were asking, hey, can you build them for my kid?
So we started the nonprofit organization, Walking and Rolling Costumes, and we build costumes for kids all over the nation, free of charge to the families.
JS Racing.
Back here live for Chase Race 1. It's concluded 100 laps with one caution here tonight. 10 lead changes and a surprise winner. Jeff Wright, we picked the 03 and the 3, and it's the number 1. Who would have thought? Getting the race win here tonight.
Yeah, the V-Speed odds had the field as an option, so if anybody took that tonight, they're also a winner. And that Hunter Senior gets it done here at Texas Motor Speedway. And like you said, didn't come in as the favorite tonight, but with a mix of good strategy and just really good driving. I mean, to be that quick on the long run, he gets it done tonight for the first time at Texas Motor Speedway. Results up on your screen there. Bradley Cooper, and we talked about that first win always feels so good, but also such of a relief, right? Because you knew you could do it, but after you get that first one, it's almost like getting the monkey off your back, right? Now you can go win that second race and maybe go on a tear the rest of the chase.
Jordan Trask is going to finish in second spot. Your points leader coming into tonight, Philip Brewer, going to finish third. We'll get a word with those drivers in just a moment. Well, my pick tonight finishes ahead of your pick by about 3 seconds. So I think had Noah Mahalski not had that situation with lap traffic, maybe he could have caught up to Philip Brewer. It was about a second there that separated those two. Andrew Toganoff is going to finish in the 5th spot. Spin Lapter with a top 10. He has really turned it up here at these mile and a halves. He's looking like he's in championship form. He's going to have to move it up just a little bit better. I don't know if that 1% there, he's at 99. He needs to take it to 100, but he's had a solid week. Caleb Weekly starting in 15th. He's going to be a big mover here tonight. He'll finish in 7th position. Justin Ritchie is going to finish in 8th spot. Then you go back to Matt Shinosky. So with all these strategy calls, then 31 is going to finish in the top 10. And Zane Farrell in the 14. He's going to round out your top 10 here tonight.
Yeah, and how many times do we always talk about Matt Shanoski sneaking his way in to a very quiet top 10, right? Nothing too flashy, but this guy just knows how to get solid finishes. And that's why he's sitting, up in, the top 8 in points and also right here in the chase. Let's see, moving on to our 11th place finisher tonight. It's going to be Austin Belke in that number 24, up a handful of spots from 25th. So a good run for him. Justin Curtis started 5th, and we saw him up in the top 5 early on. Finishes a lap down there in 12th. Chuck Sweeting going to be the big loser tonight. As far as the chasers go, going to drop 5 spots in the points tonight with this finish outside the top 10. Brandon Wallace also finishing a lap down, as well as Benjamin Richards, Jared Skinner, Chris Rude, Keith Shoemaker there in 18th. Tim Shanoski had that penalty we talked about. And then Mark Cofield rounding out our top 20.
And Austin Belke going to be the biggest mover, the Clark Print Shop biggest mover of the race with 14 positions gained. 6 more cars to talk about. Tad Dabney in 21st position was outside the top 20 or top 10 most of the night here. They'll round out 21st spot. Rob Hamp, another one of the drivers that was in the top 5 at some point in the race. He's going to end up 22nd here. That's Bryce Shoemaker. Rough patch here. I'm not sure what happened to the 54. I think he got caught up there in that first race incident. Started out in 20th position, 23rd for him. Roderick Baklavic, 22nd to start, 24th to finish. Then it's going to go to Craig Martin and Johnson New in the 26th position. The 86, part of that incident there to start this one off on lap 2. But now that we have the final race results out of the way, Jeff, I know we didn't really talk about it, but I've been waiting on this a long time, so I think I'm going to take this one over. I think I'm going to go down to victory lane and have a celebration with Hunter Sr. We've been talking about it for a while. I know that you wanted this victory for the regular season, but man, it doesn't really matter when it comes. Postseason, preseason, clash, you get a win here at SNR. It's something special, and this race was strategized to a T. Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
So you go back to the beginning of this race and maybe, 7th place in qualifying, you don't feel like you have the speed to finish even in the top 3. And then you come out with a strategy and that caution there on lap 2.5. It threw everything out the window. These guys got caught sleeping. You had somebody up there on the box that made the right call. You committed to it. You had faith in what they said and stuck with the strategy. And as a driver, you have to perform. You have to be on that clutch pedal and save as much as you can. You did it perfectly.
Yeah, big thanks to Craig and Nick. I know Nick was working with Jared, but Craig, I assumed he got wiped out pretty early, and he was helping me out there. So big thanks to, he helped me calm down the whole time. I was reading all the fuel numbers off. I actually wasn't saving. We got lucky that I had 0.1 good enough to be able to make it. That's why the burnout was horrible, but big thanks to those guys. They were a lot of help and couldn't do without them.
You look at the stint here, 48 laps, 45 laps. It was kind of a weird spot, depending on how much clean air you were in. Had you guys tested here tonight to try to make it one stop had we not had that caution?
No. I know the plan for Jared and Nick, they were going to run it dry, and I was going to be on board with them. I didn't actually really get any practice in with that stuff, so I know that's what I was going to do. I was going to go on the same path they were, and I thought that was going to be the best option. So, and I assumed that nobody was going to be able to save enough, and there's always someone that pulls out a strategy like this and saves, and I'm happy to be on the other side of it this time.
But you were on the right side of every call here tonight, and the first time in victory lane for you. Congratulations. You've already mentioned a couple names here, but I know a lot of people made this possible. Let's hear it.
So I got my script this time, Bradley. I know you've asked before. We start with Nick, Josh, Jared, Mike, and Donald. Mike's wife too, also. They make this happen. They got me into this league. I've had a pretty rough, year, back and forth. There's times there's been up and lows, and those guys are what make it happen. not just for me, but for Jared. We've come into this league, we weren't worth anything in the other leagues, and ever since we come in here, we just improved in everything we've raced in because of those guys, and big thanks to them. They kill it for us, not just in what they do in the leagues, but what they do outside with the editing and everything is just amazing. And couldn't say thanks, couldn't do anything if it wasn't for them. And Splash and Go, Cosman, he made us this beautiful paint. It's amazing to see it in Victory Lane.
Well, we're getting every single angle of it in the High Side podcast, Juicy Spider Studios, Juicy Spider and the racing team, Hunter Senior. You are a winner here at Saturday Night Racing League. Go enjoy it, and I know that the next week we'll see you in top form.
Hope so. You guys have a good night.
Hunter Senior race winner here at Texas. Congratulations to the driver and the number 1. There you go, Jeff. It's time to move on to our second place finisher, and I'll take this one as well as another one of those strategies that, Jordan, it's one of those racetracks that you focus on 1 and 2, trying to set up 3 and 4. You keep thinking about the racetrack, but you thought about the strategy. And it was just a couple seconds, that it was the difference here tonight. You had some traffic, you had some situations you had to navigate around, but you pull off a podium finish with a car that probably was going to finish top 10 tonight. That's a real accomplishment, especially starting off the chase.
Yeah, overall pretty happy with the finish. As soon as that caution came out, I knew this is the strategy I was going to go for. And I actually saved too much fuel. Coming into my first stop, I went pretty long thinking it might be an advantage. And then I realized, just running full out, I had about 2 laps extra on fuel coming to the finish. And so with Hunter there pitting 2 laps before me, he was able to run normal pace. And we basically just ran the same speed the whole final run. I didn't really have anything for him, but overall, really happy with the second place finish. I still have a broken wheelbase, so just trying to survive through that and get through these playoffs. But yeah, pretty fun race.
Broken wheelbase. So explain to me what happened there. That's not ideal to try to run a simulation.
No, it's not great. I have a sheet of plywood holding the clamp as a clamp instead of the actual clamp because my clamp and my bolt are broken on my wheels. So I got a sheet of plywood and a couple C clamps holding it up.
That's commitment, I think. Some of these guys they talk about the different setups. I think you sent me a picture of that.
Yeah, I posted it last week. I set it up about 5 minutes before the Bristol race because I was trying to fix it all day last Saturday and I couldn't get it fixed, and so I found somewhat of a solution to hopefully get me through these playoffs.
Blew it to the desk. That's the only other thing I can think of. But Jordan, again, it goes back to strategy and these races. Sometimes it's not about raw speed. It's not about, the brute force. It's sometimes you got to play that chess game, and you did it well.
Yeah. I mean, overall, coming into this race, I just knew I needed to try to finish in a podium position. My main goal is trying to beat Philip Brewer, looking at the playoffs with 10 points going to him for a regular season championship, and then not having any other points down. It makes a big gap between first and everyone else. And so I'm now 15 points behind him, and I think if I can get it down to about 10, anything can happen at Talladega. So we'll see what happens, but it's hard to make up that gap when everyone always finishes right beside each other in the top 5.
Very competitive here in the Challenger Series, but you're no stranger to victory lane, and I know that you've got at least one more left in you. Before we get to that, though, it's time to thank the people that put this 79 car in second place.
Yeah, thanks to you guys for the broadcast and everyone who puts together these races in SNR. It's always fun to do it, and I'm always looking forward to it every week. And thanks to everyone on my team who helps me practice and try to improve every week.
Congratulations again on second place, and we'll look forward to seeing you in 1 week's time.
Hopefully I can be talking to you next week. Have a good one.
Trask, second place here at Texas. And finally, Jeff, you've caught up with Philip Brewer, our points leader, coming into tonight. Got the blue banner on the windshield and on that splitter. Take it away.
Yeah, down here with Philip Brewer. And Philip, maybe not the win that you wanted to try and start the chase off with, but you certainly had the speed out there, especially on the long run, Bradley. And I kind of took note. Things got a little odd with the differing strategies. Early caution kind of allowed some of those drivers middle towards the back, top off on fuel. Looking back, do you wish that you would have done that? I mean, I'm guessing you probably would have, but probably not very likely that the race goes green to the end from there on out. I would assume that you're probably thinking the same.
Yeah, I was definitely thinking there'd be at least one more caution. I mean, yeah, I wish I would have pitted, but at the same time, you can't give up that track position to pit after 2 laps. So it kind of is what it is. I mean, Hunter and Jordan did a phenomenal job with the one stop there. I mean, I was kind of surprised I could save the fuel and keep their times good enough. But, you know, I mean, that race just kind of felt like Chicagoland, just bide my time for the long run and overcut. And it worked out to get me a top 3, which that was my goal coming in because Texas really isn't one of my better tracks.
Yeah, this is actually your first top 3, or actually, sorry, first third place finish all season. You've spent a lot of time in the top 3, but it's always been wins or a second place. So this is the first time you finished third this season. Coming into tonight with the chase reset, you came in a 16-point advantage over Jordan Trask. Jordan obviously finishes 1 spot ahead of you, and so he will get 1 point on you. Now that gap is down to 15. We go out to Phoenix next week, and I'm guessing probably feeling confident there. You've done well on those, somewhat flat tracks. You think of Phoenix being somewhat similar to like a New Hampshire, which you've been strong at in the past. Do you think that's a place where you can go out and get a win, or maybe extend this points lead as we get into that important race in 2 or 3 weeks' time after the break at Talladega? Because that's always going to be the nerve-wracking race.
Yeah, I definitely think I can get a win next week. Phoenix is one of my favorite tracks. I mean, it's just kind of awkward with the different ends and stuff. But, I mean, I got a win there last season. I'm just hoping the track temp isn't 140 degrees this time. But I'm pretty excited for Phoenix. And then, yeah, Dega is I'm not looking forward to that.
Yeah, usually points leaders aren't looking forward to Talladega, and sometimes that is where a championship can be lost. Might be speaking from experience, Philip. No, I'm just kidding. But no, we're excited to see you get out to Phoenix. Obviously, the win there last season, we knew the confidence is going to be high. You've obviously been incredible so far through the regular season. Start the chase off with a solid top 3 finish here at Texas Motor Speedway. Anybody you want to thank, maybe give a shout out here before we let you go and get you prepping for Phoenix in next week's time.
Yeah, shout out to all my teammates at FireStorm Racing. They kind of didn't have great races, so they went down pit lane and crew chief for me, and that was definitely a huge help keep a track of all the strategies. And shout out to Bradley Cooper for the Script Post paint scheme and putting the new banner on there. It's pretty nice of him. And then shout out all the admins. Have fun every week, and I'm excited to continue this championship.
That's Philip Brewer, your points leader, third place tonight at Texas. Philip, thanks for talking with us.
Thank you.
So, Bradley, not the win that 44 wanted, but when you still come out of Texas with a 15-point gap, you're probably doing pretty well. And he said it. We're going to a track at Phoenix next week. He's obviously won there. He's been very strong, has a lot of confidence. I have a feeling that points lead might grow after Phoenix.
I can agree with that. And based off of the strategy and the way this race went, I think that Phoenix is going to be a little more of what these drivers were used to with, you can kind of set in stone what you're going to do and the adaptability. Who would have thought that on lap 2, you come down pit road and save enough fuel to make it to the end of this race? It kind of threw us for a loop, and we saw it start to brew, and by the end of this race, it paid off. Hunter Senior victorious here in chase race number 1. We have more coverage here on V-Speed, and we got more racing to go throughout the season. Up next, it's Kansas Speedway for the Cup Series. Jeff Wright's going to go practice, and I got to wrap things up here at V-Speed for the next one. So in about 45 minutes time, you can catch us back live here. We had three broadcasts going at the same time here, Jeff, and we're going to kind of overlap. So if you're waiting in between that for these 40 or so minutes, you can catch Goat Locker and No Limits. You can also catch Misfits Racing League. their touring series live here on V-Speed with Morgan Cook, and we have Eddie Smith as well. But that's going to do it for us here at Texas. For everybody to help put this together, my co-commentator Jeff Wright, Adam Baker, one of our co-owners, Morgan Cook, Eddie Smith. This is Bradley Cooper saying so long for Chase Race number 1 in the Challenger Series. It's on to the Cup Series at Kansas. We'll see you in 40 minutes. Stay tracking, everybody.